Hello, hello, hello. We did it. I just learned recently that if a video gets over 100 likes, then it gets into the algorithm. And I think it's so important for survivor-centric, content. Oh, here, I'm still here, hearing myself talk on my phone. Um, but I think it's really important because if we can really get survivor-centric content in the algorithm, it could change the world. So I just learned that recently. So thank you so much for supporting. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Welcome to Eat Predators Daily. I'm your host. Sometimes I do it. Alexanikolas. Let's digest it all today. But how is everyone doing? Hi, Juliet. Hi, Ivy. Hi, Alicia, Allison, Christina, Juan. Oh my God, everyone's here. It's so nice to see you. So nice to see you. How is everyone doing? It's Tuesday, November 28th. God, this month has been flying. I can't believe it's already the end of the year. Who can agree with that? It's wild that it's already the end of the year. I can't believe it. It's wild. Sometimes I think it's because I have two kids, but I've been hearing from people that don't have two kids that they're feeling the same, they're feeling the same way. It's almost New Year's. This is wild. It's holiday season. You guys are doing good. It's so nice to see you here. So nice to see you here. Wow, do we have a lot well, honestly, we only have a lot to get into because, Matthew Underwood just tends to write novels. Tends to write novels when it comes to Dan Schneider. And, to be quite honest with you, my little conspiracy theory, just my little conspiracy theory, is it Matt Underwood writing it or is it Dan Schneider? Because we all know that Dan Schneider hasn't made a comment since the Business Insider article, the expose about Dan Schneider with all the allegations against him. He's been nowhere to be found. And, I think it was a few months ago, or maybe 6 months ago, that Russell Hicks, who was the ex-president of Nickelodeon, is the only person to speak out on behalf of Dan Schneider. And honestly, he really threw Nickelodeon under the bus. He admitted to the fact that Nickelodeon oversaw everything and it wasn't Dan's fault, but it, kind of hinting that it was Nickelodeon's fault, which is we all know why I personally protested Nickelodeon is because I really want to begin holding these institutions accountable because these individuals are not protected without these institutions. And so we really have to start calling out the institutions. And Russell Hicks really threw Nickelodeon under the bus, to be quite honest with you. And Russell Hicks is the only individual that has spoke out. And then fast forward now, I've seen Matthew Underwood's alleged emails, whatever. He hasn't reached out to me. So I'm assuming now that they are his emails because I feel like he would have maybe messaged me or messaged someone I knew to let me know that it wasn't him. So I'm pretty positive that it is Matthew Underwood. And the emails are so strange because they're so Dan Schneider centric. They're so Dan Schneider focused to the point where this individual, this fan that he was emailing ended up deleting their, Instagram posts because they were doing a lot of, investigative whatever into Nickelodeon Dan Schneider. And because of Matthew Underwood's mansplaining, in my opinion, this fan deleted stuff and felt like she was doing something wrong, which is so sad because this is what happens a lot of the time with enablers specifically, is that they will make the individuals who are onto something, honestly, make them feel like they're doing something wrong and that they shouldn't be doing it. And I have a problem with that because I do just want to say one more time that in 2019, I went live on Instagram, you know, talking about my Zoe 101 days, my Dan Schneider days, and I spoke out about it. And even before that, I made a few posts here and there kind of hinting at my opinion of Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon. And for Matt to kind of, I don't know, forget or to not mention that one of his co-stars, someone he knew, me, you know, spoke out about this and to discredit me like that. It's just sad because survivors need more allies. We need less enablers and we need more allies. And it's really heartbreaking when it's someone you know personally that, you know, could make a difference, could stand up for you or for them, for us. And they choose the opposite direction. And it's just sad. It's really, really sad. And so this is, thank God, the final email from Matt Underwood that I have. And the reason why I think it's important to mention is because I really am trying to encourage everyone out there that where there is smoke, there is fire. And we need people to listen to the survivors. And if you're, you know, in the middle, okay, then don't say anything. Don't say anything yet. In my personal opinion, it's like, why say something when you're hearing people from personal experience saying certain things? Maybe just don't say anything and wait. But no, a lot of enablers think it's their place to discredit the survivors. And I'm trying to change that here at ePredators Daily. I'm trying to encourage allyship because we need it. We really, really do need it. And, you know, I have my own experiences with Matt Underwood. Am I going to sit here and talk to you about my own personal experiences with Matthew Underwood, what he was like as a kid? No. Because first of all, we were kids. You know, we were kids. The reason why I spoke out about the bullying is because I realized that bullying was happening, you know, everywhere. And there are so many individuals out there that have experienced that. And I wanted to be an advocate for change. I wanted people out there to feel less alone when it came to bullying in high school or middle school or elementary school. I wanted to make a difference and share my story. But am I going to go into the particular details of each child? No. No. And I find it interesting that a lot of my peers are choosing to do that. And what happens with that is you can end up smearing and discrediting people's voices that are advocating for change. Hi, Kelvin. Definitely considered myself an ally. Kelvin, ally. Welcome, welcome. And so, you know, me speaking out was about creating change when it came to bullying. That's what it was all about. Christina, you're amazing. And Matt Underwood has too much time on his feet to gaslight, bully, and mansplain. Gross. Power to survivors, you rock, Alexa. Power to survivors. Power to survivors. And so that was my point, you know, speaking out against what happened to me on the set of Zoe 101 is to hopefully make people feel less alone and not talking about their child, like necessarily like, you know, personalities per se, unless it was creating some type of HARM. And so, yeah, so here we are today. I'm so grateful for all of you being here and supporting ePredators. I'm really trying to not forget to say, please subscribe and like the video and just share the video, share the content. It means a lot. We're really trying to get survivor-centric narratives out there, and your contribution really matters and is so, so, so appreciated. So before I go into, I'm going to be talking about Lindsey Shaw today. I wasn't going to talk about it because the victim blaming, but a little bit. But, you know, I think it's important to at least talk about it a little bit. And, you know, as a survivor, I'm like always trying to encourage myself to not get silenced just because people don't understand my life or understand my story or what I'm doing here. I'm really trying to encourage myself to know that my voice matters. And I really hope that it encourages others and empowers others out there to not be silenced by people that don't get it, that don't know your true intention when it comes to speaking out about your life experiences. And we need more stories. We need it in our community to learn, to have compassion for one another, to build community, honestly. We need to know that we're not alone. Josh, thank you. Child stars have been bullied since the early days of Hollywood. Judy Garland, who was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, was also bullied on set. Yeah, it's very true. Since the beginning of time, this is a Hollywood issue. And it's not just a Hollywood issue. It is everywhere. But sadly, Hollywood does create the culture, or at least promote the culture. And it tells other industries, other institutions, other individuals what's acceptable and what's not. And that's what I'm really trying to change. Hollywood is honestly just a symptom of what's happening all around the world right now. And yeah, it's happening in Hollywood. But really the point of calling out Hollywood is also to call out what's happening in the world and to create change. And so, yeah, with that being said, I do want to remind everyone that is listening that ePredators is a complete DIY platform. It's grassroots. I started last year protesting institutions and alleged P's, every single Thursday. And, that's where it all began, is protesting and getting out there in the streets every single Thursday. And now it's grown to becoming a YouTube channel where I get to advocate more so for survivors against enablers, institutions that are covering up, alleged P's, for example, and reach more people. That's really the whole point of this channel, is to be able to reach more people and be able to explain why I've been protesting. Because a lot of the time, someone sees me protesting, I only have a very short period of time to get what I need to say out there. And here I'm able to really break things down. And so we have no sponsors for this channel. So every bit of contribution really matters. Liking, subscribing, sharing. And I'm about to go into the other ways to support ePredators. So first and foremost, we have the Patreon page here. And we just updated the membership. And I'm really excited about this because, hi, Daisy. Hi, Daisy. It's very disturbing how many people are willing to believe the worst of a child, but the best of a person, the child said, H them. Yeah, it's so true. So true, Daisy. So with Patreon, we just updated it. I'm so excited about this because we added a bunch of things here. Patreon was the first way of reaching out to community last year while we were protesting. And there's a bunch of different tiers. And obviously you can even just donate $1 to the Patreon. But we have tiers. We have the $5 tier, the $11 tier, the $22 tier, the $33 tier, and the $44 tier. And basically what comes along with that is the Discord, Predators membership videos. It includes all the Discord benefits. And then with the $11 tier, we got the live Q&A. And that's something I'm going to be doing every single month, is at the end of the month, talk with the community. You can ask me anything. We can obviously make sure it's respectful, not too triggering here, but we can actually have a dialogue and either talk about the content I've been creating or my past, etc. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And also what comes with it is 10% off of the merchandise and a Predator-free playlist, which will be really fun to share with everyone. Obviously, you never know who's next, but what we know as of now when it comes to the playlist. And then with the $22 a month Patreon, we have a special thanks and the ePredator zine, which I'm so excited to announce that next year we're launching the ePredator zine, which is going to be survivor-centric media, survivor-centric narratives. And we're going to be discussing all of the content that's out there in the media when it comes to alleged predators and survivors, but more from a survivor-centric place. And we really need that. We really need that because sadly there are a lot of alleged predators at the top that are blocking a lot of what needs to be said and shared. So $22, we're sending you the ePredator zine, a personal special thanks. And then going on to the $35 tier, there's a print. You receive a print of ePredator's protest sign, the archive as well, which grants you the access to the entire protest sign archive. And I'm going to start doing a healing once a month healing circle. And I've been reaching out to a bunch of different individuals that want to volunteer their time once a month to create this circle. So I'll be doing that with you guys. I think it's nice because we're talking about a lot of triggering events. So I want to offer, journaling, breath work, maybe meditating, so that we can balance the energies while going into a lot of this activist work. And then, obviously the $44 tier is everything from above. And, you get a specific protest sign in the mail. And I'm going to be doing once a month movie watching, which I'm so excited. So I'm going to pick a movie, either a documentary or a film that's really inspired me, that has changed my life, that brought me here to this point. And I really want to share the tools with this community so that you can do something empowering with it. So you can do something powerful with it yourself, no matter what the cause is. But, a friend of mine or someone I've met along the way in my lifetime has shown me a book or shown me a film that really changed my life. And so I want to share that with this community. So we'll watch a film, we'll have some popcorn and get into it. And obviously talk about it as we watch it. And I think the first one we're going to be doing is A Century of Self. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. So yeah, that's some of the benefits there with the Patreon. And going into the merch. So we have epredators.com with the merch that really helps keep this sustainable because honestly, we do need community to keep this going. I honestly cannot do this alone. We can't do this alone. And another great way of supporting it is spreading awareness. And I've gotten so many emails and DMs, etc., about individuals that have worn any Predator shirt or a tote and ended up having a conversation with a stranger, about this mission. And, I just think it's really wonderful. It's supporting the work and it's also spreading awareness. We have incredible new winter gear, which is Power to Survivor hoodies. And we have also the crew neck one as well. And the t-shirts, which I ordered mine. I'm waiting for mine to come. So I can't wait to wear that here on the channel. But if you're interested in supporting the channel, any way you do it, even just being here, thank you so much. You are seen, you are heard, and deeply appreciated. One of the things that we do for members only here on YouTube is every Friday, we do a members only live. And last we were doing the Britney Spears book club. We're moving on to Jeanette McCurdy's Hard Feelings. And something that I really like to do here at ePredators is to make sure that we're platforming survivor-centric content. And Jeanette McCurdy is someone who I really admire, and I find her very inspiring. And I think it's important for us to, boost her, obviously, and hear what she has to say, and also have our own conversations around what she has to say, and maybe discuss our own hard feelings. So every other Friday, we'll be talking about this podcast, listening to it together, and then discussing. And then on the off Fridays, for all members of YouTube, from Dinner Party to Munchies to Chef's Kiss, we're going into Social Change Now. And this has been one of my favorite membership only things to do, to be quite honest with you. And we go into basically finding our individual voices, our unique talents on how we can create social change. And there's not just one way to do it. You just being here is a way to do it. And so we go through this workbook, and it's been so inspiring and incredible to do this with everybody. And so this comes with all the memberships with YouTube, and it's every single Friday. And I just love it, love it, love it so, so, so much. I really love it. So you guys, I got word today that, Adam, who we spoke about recently when it came to Colleen Ballinger, just did a video about my video, which is so great to see, like, survivors. This is all about survivors united. We'll never be divided. We are so much more powerful together. Really. And it's not about all of us being best friends or liking, every single thing about one another. It's about uniting so we can create change. And so when I see survivors supporting each other, it's just so nice. It's just such a beautiful thing to see. And so here is, Adam. I want to say his last name properly. It's McIntyre? McIntyre, right? McIntyre. And he's just so wonderful. Like, subscribe. I haven't watched this video yet. Yeah, please post it in the chat. If you guys want me to, I would love to watch this maybe with you guys, and we can discuss what his commentary was on my video. And this is just what's so great. This is why we need more survivor-centric content, because we're changing the world together. And we're not just changing the world as survivors, we're changing the world as allies. Really. And so your contribution really matters. And I've dedicated my life to this. This is where I'm at in my life. Dedicated my life to this, and I really appreciate every single one of you. So I felt like a little Italian person there for a second. But you really, really, really do matter, and thank you so much. So I guess I'm going into Lindsey Shaw for a second. I was obviously very triggered by what I got sent. Now, obviously, Lindsey Shaw and Chrissy Carlson Romano blocked me instead of making an apology or reaching out, or not even making an apology to me, but maybe the survivor's friend and the survivor that reached out to Chrissy Carlson Romano. There was no apology. No apology whatsoever, and instead I got blocked. And at first I was just blocked by their individual pages. So Chrissy Carlson Romano, Lindsey Shaw, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, and now I'm also blocked by the podcasts. So Podco and Vulnerable podcasts that I was on, that I shared my, deepest traumas on, I got blocked there too. Which is sad, obviously. I will live. This is not like, it just is triggering and sad for me, because I spent 2 hours of my life on there, giving my trauma, sharing it, hoping to create change, just to be erased and blocked. But yeah, so it started on their individual pages. Then now the podcasts have blocked me. But ironically enough, I am still pinned on Chrissy Carlson Romano's TikTok page, someone told me, because I guess I got 2.2 million views. And in my opinion, there's a flex there. to flex the views of her podcast. And it looks like Allison Stoner, me, and someone else is what she's flexing. And it's just sad because she deleted all of it on YouTube, but then decided to just keep the pin there, in my opinion, to just share how many views it got. But whatever. So no apology, got blocked. And, you know, after making my open letter with Chrissy Carlson Romano, I thought, I'm moving on from here. This is it. I said what I needed to say. I felt like I was very fair and honest and vulnerable, which is something that Christy obviously advocates for. And then someone sent me a comment that was on one of Lindsey Shaw's reels. And the reason why I was triggered by this isn't because of the troll. I see trolls all the time on Twitter, on Instagram, as a survivor. I get a bunch of DMs sometimes that are very, very scary, to be quite honest with you. That wasn't what made this particularly triggering. It was that Lindsey Shaw hearted this dehumanizing comment and then commented back and said thank you with a prayer emoji. And it's sad. It's like, okay, so if you're not going to apologize, that's one thing. No one can make anyone do that. You're not going to apologize, sure. But to have the time to respond to something that was so dehumanizing, full of mental health stigma, when, by the way, a lot of podcos, I think all of them actually, are sponsored by BetterHelp. And I've heard some not good things about BetterHelp, so that's a whole other story. But still, sponsored by mental health, companies. And, you know, here she is completely ignoring the effects of what this individual commented on her reel. And I'm going to share here today, obviously, what I posted on Twitter and maybe just say one thing directed at Lindsey Shaw and, you know, just close the chapter here. So wait, I see something right here. Who is it? Marissa, where's a survival guide for survivors? The Ned's Cast and Christy writes, where is it? Where is it? Okay, so here's my tweet. So I said here, Lindsey Shaw does not give a F. I was very triggered here. F about mental health. This is beyond disgusting / disturbing behavior towards a survivor of child SA. And I will be reaching out to your sponsor, BetterHelp, about this. Now here's where it all began. So someone, Bowed17, by the way, I didn't find this because I'm blocked. Someone sent this to me. Alexa is a psycho who keeps using bigger names to be talked about. And she has this clickbaity titles on YouTube that are cringy as hell. She tries to use the victim card all the time, but she will never be as relevant as Jeanette or the other bigger Nick stars. So yeah. Lindsey Shaw responds with, thank you, and hearted the comment. The problem that I also have here is not even just the fact that I got called psycho, which, by the way, I am not psycho, Lindsey. And using that term is extremely problematic for too many reasons to go into today. But what I found really sad about it was that she was liking the fact that this individual put Nick Star's trauma, like their individual traumas, on a hierarchy and was trying to create relevancy for each Nick Star when it came to their voice, when it came to who they are and what they've experienced. I'm 31 years old, 31. And I don't know how old Lindsey is now, but She's a few years older than me. It's just really sad that this is still happening. And I spoke out about the experiences I had at Nickelodeon when it came to being bullied on Zoe 101, being bullied by other Nick stars as well. And the reason for me saying that was because I really wanted to create change. And I was hoping that we were all in a different place. But it seems like now we are still here, where bullying is still happening in our 30s. We're encouraging bullying. We're encouraging mental health stigmas. And it's just really, really sad. And not only is it sad, it's like triggering. It's triggering because I see these troll bots, or whatever you want to call them, regularly dismissing and disencouraging allyship when it comes to survivors. And then here I see somebody who used to be my best friend literally liking it and giving a prayer emoji to it. And I have no tears in me left, to be quite honest with you. Like, I feel sad about it. But really, what I really feel now is I really hope that Lindsey one day, looks back at this and sees that this wasn't the right move. This wasn't the right thing to do. This doesn't set a good example for anyone, honestly. Like, for anyone. It doesn't encourage kindness. It doesn't encourage compassion. It doesn't encourage anything good, really. It encourages bullying, mental health stigma, discrediting survivors. And I'm just hoping that one day she looks at this and she realizes that and maybe becomes an ally for survivors like myself who have been so courageous and speaking out and telling their stories when all cards were stacked up against them. And yeah, there's really nothing else to say there. I'm just really wishing her a change of heart. A change of heart. And I'm not the kind of person to sit here and talk about her past. Not. But I do hope that her future is more compassionate than her present. So that's how I feel about that. And I don't want anyone out there thinking that one person's story is more relevant than another. We're so better than that. We're so much better than that. And we need to do better and be better human beings. And all of us matter. There's no hierarchy to trauma. There's no hierarchy to personal stories. All of it matters. And that's what I really try to encourage here on the channel. This is not, I want nothing to do with whatever that was here. And so, yeah, I'm wishing Lindsey Shaw the best, honestly. I hope she really, really changes her mind and heart. Because I'm done waiting for an apology. I'm done waiting for an apology. I'm so over it. So going into Matthew Underwood today, I guess this is an enabler episode. Some days we have alleged predators. Other days we are showcasing enablers. And Matt Underwood has really become a poster boy. Yeah, a poster boy for enabler activity. The first email I read, which was literally a fucking novel. He starts it with like, howdy, sorry I write novels. Dude, Matt, you weren't kidding. That was the most honest subject title I've ever seen in an email, to be quite honest with you. It was long. I don't even know how long it took me. It was like 2 hours to go through that email where he defends Dan Schneider and his actions and really discredits the survivors that, like myself, that have come forward. He just totally discredits me, which, whatever. I'm used to this at this point when it comes to the Nick stars, my Nick peers, etc. I'm really, really, really used to it. And it's a sad fact, but I'm getting used to it. So this was like in 2021. And ironically, this was before the Business Insider expose when it came to Dan Schneider's allegations, people that have come forward, lawsuit, NDAs, whatever, etc. This was before. And he really should have waited. He really should have waited. And if he was going to say something, it should be like, I don't know. You know, I honestly just don't know. And I've only had my own personal experience with Dan and whatever it was and whatever. But what I found interesting about his first email was that he tried to tell this fan that there was no inappropriate behavior, content, etc. on Zoe 101. And someone shared with me this TikTok video. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. This TikTok video that I wasn't on this season. This was the season after I left, I think. And so let's just watch this for a second because I really want to remind, you know, not only the audience out there, but Matthew Underwood in particular, that, yo, what is this not inappropriate? Let's watch it.
Zoe, yo, crash. Crash.
Oh, all right. That's great. Very nice, Quinn. A+. Or D+.
Zoe,
I'm going to play one more time.
Crash.
Oh, all right. That's great. Very nice, Quinn. A+. Or D+.
Okay. Not only is Aaron Sanders, who played Quinn, I think a child here. Pretty positive. But like my friend Adam mentioned earlier, is that this is content created for children. Children, some might be 5 years old watching this episode, and that's what they're getting fed by Dan Schneider, by Nickelodeon. It is wild because Matt Underwood was there. And in the first email, he really wants to discredit any type of inappropriate content, etc. when it came to Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider. He says there was no such thing. What the fuck is that, bro? That's not inappropriate for children? Really? And then Chris Massey, who plays Michael's comment at the end, is even more disturbing. These are children. Children are watching. And really disturbing. So now going into the second email from Matt Underwood, he tends to obviously write novels. And this one's interesting because it's a little bit of a different tune here, where he tries to, I guess it's lots of love. I don't know who started this subject, if it was Matt Underwood or if it was the fan of Matt Underwood. But anyway, the subject is lots of love. Okay, here we go. So first and foremost, you should know I never doubted your intentions for a second. This is the reason I don't send emails to anyone else about this subject. Why are you emailing this person? What is the deal here? I know you're not only good-hearted, but you are a reasonable individual who is motivated to do the right thing. So here's a little bit, sorry, gives me a little bit of the pat on the head and, you know, the kind of manipulative tactic to do a backhanded compliment almost, like, I know you're better than this, so be better than this in the way that I want you to be better than this because I have my own intention. That's the vibe that I'm personally getting, in my opinion. So he goes, I know you're only good-hearted, but you're a reasonable individual who is motivated to do the right thing. If I had thought otherwise, I would not have taken even a second to give you my thoughts on the matter. Okay. I don't need commending for spending the time to talk to you about it. I must commend you for having such a strong will that you can reasonably take in what I said and make your own logical, I love when men say this, logical judgment calls. That is extraordinarily brave. You should know there are millions of people in this country that are literally incapable of doing that. They are Q. So obviously Matt Underwood in the first email, if you guys remember, has this whole thing with Q. I don't know, he's very, very focused on QAnon and, you know, I don't know if anyone saw the documentary on HBO Max, but they did a whole documentary on Q and actually found out who it was, and it was the head of 4chan. Long story. But anyways, he seems to be very fixated on Q. And he's, in my opinion, using Q as a way to encourage / manipulate this fan into not creating any more content that is not in Dan Schneider's favor. And so mentioning Q, insinuating that any content about Dan Schneider is Q, makes someone feel, I mean, even me, I'd be like, I don't want to be necessarily Q. You know, I don't really want to give into QAnon theory per se, because the true stories are so much more relevant and mind-blowing that I would honestly want to back down. And he's so obviously using that to discourage this individual from making any content that's not so good for Dan Schneider. So moving on. Second, I have many reasons to believe Dan's side of things. Really? I haven't heard Dan's side of things, and I haven't heard anyone else personally who has heard Dan Schneider's side of things. He's been under a rock. Like, he's been honestly under a rock. And it doesn't seem like maybe he doesn't have enough time on his feet to let us know what his side of things are. But I find this very interesting because Matt Underwood is allegedly insinuating that he had a conversation with Dan Schneider about the allegations. But he doesn't really say exactly what Dan Schneider had to say, but he lets us know that Dan Schneider did say something. So he did have a conversation with Matthew Underwood, and this is why I'm very suspicious about this email. I get that it's coming from allegedly Matt Underwood's Gmail. I get that Matt Underwood is the one probably writing this, but it feels like Dan Schneider is almost writing this fucking email. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. It sounds like Dan, it's so about Dan and protecting Dan. First email and now this, that there's just something very weird about it. And then here is Matt Underwood admitting that he heard Dan Schneider's side of things. So here we go. But my main intent is always to encourage thorough research and personal inquiries while considering allegations or theories that might not be true. I want to be clear that I was providing my outlook on things, but if you desire to continue, there are great ways to do it that are responsible and ethical. Okay? Just as journalists do. And I'm not able to. I can put my mouse over it though. Journalists have the same job Sloan does. He's really watching Sloan videos, by the way. I love it. He's watching Sloan. He's thinking about Sloan. It's honestly pretty funny that he keeps mentioning Sloan. The first email, he talks a lot about Sloan. Here he is talking about Sloan again. Sloan really trailblazed a lot of the investigative work when it came to Dan Schneider. So I give mad props to Sloan. Honestly, Sloan really helped boost the problematic aspects of Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon. So journalists have the same job Sloan does. They just have to jump through more hoops to get the real truth and won't publish unless they do. To be frank, I still don't discount any allegations. Okay, so now he's kind of doing that whole I play both sides, like I'm over here and I'm a little bit over here. But I think it's because what ended up happening in the email before, I got to see what this individual said to him before, is she wiped her Instagram profile about Dan Schneider. She wiped it. His emails were that persuasive that it made her feel as though that she was doing something wrong. Kid member for 2 months. Hey, Sloan in chat. Is Sloan here? I was like, is Sloan here? But it's just so wild to me. It's so wild to me that his email had such an impact on this individual and discouraged her from investigating further. And now fast forward, look, Business Insider, this big publication, well-known journalist, etc., got the spotlight. And honestly, it really stemmed from people like Sloan, very brave individuals like Sloan. And here he is discouraging this girl's intuitive, I don't know, feeling about Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider, etc. And he discouraged that. And what a bummer, because who knows what she would have found out or what she would have done if she kept digging in. So I find this very problematic. This is why enablers suck. Sorry. But they do, because you bury the truth. You think you're helping someone, but really you're doing the opposite. You're helping no one. All right, so where was I? They have to jump through. Okay, to be frank, I still don't discount any allegations. I couldn't because I have no physical proof. I can provide the logical reasonings behind my thought processes that lead me to believe Dan. Okay. Thanks, Matt. You're so kind. But I cannot and would not outright discount allegations without literal proof. Yo, Matt! Can we go? Let me hear. Where were we? Where is it? Here we go. Can we watch this one more time? Here's the proof, bro.
Zoe, yell crash. Crash.
Oh, all right. That's great. Very nice, Quinn. A plus. Or D plus.
There's one piece of proof for you. That's one piece of proof. You were there. Whatever. That's literal proof, by the way. Nickelodeon aired that. Moving on. I have the same information to base my judgments off as you, with the addition of personal experiences with the guy. But my personal experiences with him aren't even much to me. The real holes in the stories come when I consider the amount of people on set and our social workers. I don't even remember social workers. That's the weird thing, is like, what social workers? I didn't have a social worker on set. Did we? I only remember the school teacher, but I really don't remember any social workers, honestly. Okay, so every time a child actor is asked to do something that could in the slightest make them uncomfortable, they're asked if they're okay with it. Not true. No one asked me before I made comments about my chest area that Dan wrote while a lot of adults were writing, directing, male behind the camera, DP. No one asked me if I was okay with saying that line. No one. Who are you talking about? Who's the social worker, Matt? I want to know. Because that social worker sucks at their job then. And I want to report that social worker, to be quite honest with you. Because they never asked me, but maybe it's misogyny. Maybe they were more interested in Matt Underwood making sure that he and the boys were safe, but not the women, or the girls. Maybe that's the case, but I don't remember any social worker there. I only remember the school teacher, like the teacher, set teacher. No one else. No one asked me the multiple times that I was exploited and objectified on Zoe 101 at the hands of Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon. No one asked me once if I was comfortable. No one. So I don't honestly know what Dan, I was going to say Dan, Matthew Underwood. Is it Dan? Is it Matt? I don't really know what Matthew Underwood is talking about here, but I did not have this same personal experience. So, okay, they're asked if, they're okay with it by a social worker ahead of time. They don't have to tell production no. My social worker has played the bad guy for me plenty of times. God, I wish the social worker was around when I was around. Saying no to a request they know I wouldn't want to say no to, but I don't want to say yes to either. It would be extensively hard to put a child in an uncomfortable situation on set. I'm sorry. Can I read this one more time? It would be extensively hard to put a child in an uncomfortable situation on set.
Now I feel that the clothes for our commercial should be really cool, like funky. I'm down with funky. Okay, so I sketched out a few possible outfit combinations. See? Cool. But how do we buy these clothes? How do we buy these boobs? Yeah, I went a little overboard on those.
Extensively hard, Matthew Underwood. It was so hard that it aired on national television for children, but it's so dang hard. From Quinn to me to Jamie to so hard. Some truck out there, I think. Do you hear it? Okay. Do you guys hear the truck? All right, so I learned when studying logic. Where did you study logic, bro? From Dan Schneider or Nickelodeon? I learned when studying logic. Now, this is really sounding more like Logan older than I thought. This is, by the way, just remember that the fan that is speaking to him here is a girl. I don't know if she's a woman, young woman, girl, female nonetheless, identifies as a female. And listen to how he's talking to her here. I learned when studying logic. Where'd you study logic, bro? Because this is so logical. It's not logical at all. I could literally just pick apart this entire fucking email, man. Marissa, the Chessie clip is in the Reddit. Thank you. I will go into the Reddit also to play that, because that one is also extremely uncomfortable. All right. Doing something inappropriate on Nickelodeon set is extraordinarily difficult. From personal experience, so to prove to me that something inappropriate was done there, Matthew, dude, you were there. How do you not remember that you were there when a lot of inappropriate activity was going on? I need evidence to account for how the accused could get past all the extraordinary checks and balances to get away with it. If I hear an explanation for the actions that sounds more reasonable and likely, that's probably the correct explanation. I want to touch on your personal situation too. I don't want to get personal about it. I myself can feel triggered when talking about it. I want you to know I feel for you. The world can be a savage place with a lot of unreasonable people. Like, you're unreasonable. You were there. It's quite sad how often individuals can get away with discussing acts in everyday life. You were there. I must add here that sadly, when in the spotlight of Hollywood sets, these situations are always taken much more seriously. I wish the world outside of LA took the situations just as seriously. No, Matt, they didn't take it seriously on set. Hollywood didn't take any of this seriously, honestly, until after the Me Too movement. Everything before that point was not taken seriously. It's still honestly happening. It's still not being taken seriously. You act like Hollywood, it's like, wow, Hollywood's the good place. Hollywood is where, you know, all the things are really taken seriously and protected. Bro, read Cassie's fucking lawsuit. Read my lawsuit. Read Jeanette McCurdy's book. I mean, just read anything that's happened in Hollywood, dude. And it's like, no one is safe, honestly, in Hollywood. I don't want to laugh, but like, it's almost getting ridiculous at this point. Hollywood is not a safe space. It's not. None of the industries are a safe space, from music to film, etc. None of it is a safe space. And here he is once again mansplaining to this fan, making her feel silly about questioning or looking into Hollywood, looking into Nickelodeon, looking into Dan. Moving on. I don't know exactly what to think about what Jamie told you. I'm uncomfortable being told someone is a creep without being... Is he talking about Jamie Lynn Spears here? There's no way. Wait, is he talking about Jamie? What do you guys think? Is he talking about Jamie Lynn Spears? I don't know exactly what to think about what Jamie told you. I'm uncomfortable being told someone is a creep without it being explained why they think that. I don't know, maybe the multiple episodes that are creepy as fuck, bro. Jordan J. Alexa, I have achieved link of most of Dan's corrupted behavior. Do you have an email I can send this to? Yes, epredators@gmail.com. Please, and maybe share in the Reddit as well for epredators. I don't know, dude, the creepy behavior was while you were there, so I don't honestly still know what he's talking about. It leads me to believe they're either also riding the rumor wagon. Here we go with Christy Carlson Romano and the enabler. See how all enablers speak the same way? It's not a coincidence that enablers use the same language. They all use it's a rumor, you know, this person's a liar, this person is a psycho, this person is crazy, this person doesn't know, this person's outside of Hollywood, you know, whatever it is. Whatever it is. It's all to protect. Oh, it's below me, behind me. It's all to protect the bad guys. They don't even know they're protecting the bad guy because they think they're protecting their career. But you have to understand the reason why they're trying to protect their career is because the ones who control their career are the bad guys. And that's why the institutions, when I showed you the 5 layers yesterday, is so important, because people are willing to protect their bank accounts more than they are to protect children or human life. And that's what really needs to change. Sadly, people are more concerned about the bad guys because the bad guys can either help. There it is. Thank you, Adam. They can either help or destroy their careers. So there you got survivors at the bottom. This is everything that survivors have to face on their healing journey from coming forward about what happened to them. So you get survivors there on the bottom, you got the enablers, then you got the alleged predators, then you got media, then you got lawyers, and then you got the institutions. So the institutions are protected by every single thing below them. It's a trickle-down effect, but it also is a trickle-up effect, because what's happening down below is protecting what the institution is covering up, protecting, etc., which is usually criminal activity, by the way. So the reason why Matthew Underwood here is, you know, possibly saying this is because he wanted to be in the Zoe 102 movie. In my personal opinion, this is what it sounds like. So moving on, he's talking about Jamie Lynn Spears, I guess. There is one reason that I found that seems to give people the impression that he's creepy, though. It's quite comical. You know what? Fuck you, man. Matt. Sorry, I'm not usually that kind of person, but like, I'm kind of pissed that you would even think about saying that it's quite comical. The obvious creepy behavior by Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon. Who are you, man? Quite comical? Oh, so you think it's funny too to exploit children? To have children have floatable, you know what? Be dehumanized like that on national television? You think it's quite comical too, like Dan? Is this Dan? I'm sorry, I'm starting to think this is fucking Dan Schneider. Who else? Matt, if you wrote this, man, that is so weird. Why? You were there. You should know. Is Dan influencing this email since he told you his side of things? Is this his side of things? He finds it comical. You find it comical to exploit children. To the S word lies them. You think that's okay? You think that's comical? Wow. This is embarrassing. You were there. I had to fucking personally experience it, dude. Sorry, okay, moving on. All right, where are we? It's quite comical, but I hear it enough to assume it's gotta be the culprit to the rumors. That is, he keeps working with kids. No, that's not it, Matt. It's not that he just keeps working with kids, it's that his content is fucking creepy. His content is wrong. Look at the slap. Dan Warp. Go watch it. I'm a mom. I would be so, that personally could never happen. With everything that I know now, I would never allow my kid even in this situation. But that's not to blame any of the parents, because it's also a very different time. And in so many things were so different when it came to education. Dude, go watch anything from Dan Schneider. It's inappropriate. Ariana Grande's alone. You're defending that? You don't think that's creepy? You think it's because he works with kids? That's what you think it is. Because he works with kids. No, bro. It's because the actual content is inappropriate for children. It's inappropriate for the children doing it because it was an old, grown-ass man creating this content. The children doing it, and then also the children watching it. Ariana Grande, the bed thing, I don't want to play it here because I don't even want to perpetuate how fucking gross it is. That's to the point where when I found it on YouTube and I clicked on it, it literally told me like, You have to be 18 years or older to watch this. This was a Nickelodeon. This was paid by Nickelodeon, I'm pretty positive. And here on YouTube, it was saying I had to be 18 years or older to watch that Ariana Grande video because it's horrific. It's legit horrific. And he's sitting here, let me mansplain to you because I'm maybe Dan. Maybe I'm Dan himself. Let me mansplain to you, you know, what this actually is, that it's just because he works with children. No, bro, it's how he works with children. It's the content he's creating for children. It's how many tweets there are about feet, kids' feet in general. There's so much there. Wow, it's so sad that this individual ended up deleting their Instagram and he ended up really influencing them. So as stupid as that might sound, a lot of people find it weird that a grown man would want to work with kids for decades. I don't think it's that weird. It's that the content, bro. It's the context. As stupid as that might sound, a lot of people find it weird that a grown man would want to work with kids for decades. Not the slightest bit weird if a woman wants to work with kids her whole life, but when a man finds it rewarding and fun, he's got to be a creep. No. It's all about the content. Look at Colleen Ballinger. It's not about the gender. I mean, you know, for sure I'm sure people speculate males more so because, yeah. But look at Colleen Ballinger, for example. She's a female. She was creating, you know, children, like, you know, child content. And then she was doing X, Y, and Z. And yeah, sure, maybe people were more trusting with her because she was a female. I don't really think so, though. I think there is maybe a little bit of a red flag when anyone's honestly wanting to work with children in Hollywood. I'm not saying that we just accuse them of things blatantly, blindly, no. But if they're showing red flags, like the content that Dan Schneider creates, by the way, or what Colleen Ballinger allegedly did, that's when you go, whoa. I don't like that you like to work with kids this much or you're making child content because of your behavior that is showing a lot of red flags. Okay, so what is it? Woman wants to work with kids whole life, but when a man finds it rewarding and fun, he's got to be a creep. Apparently, I don't believe that because I fully understand how rewarding it can be to see children learn new things, something adults don't do very often. To see kids grow from a newbie to a pro, and especially the pure joy and fun that kids bring to the table, something most adults have lost along the way. Sure, I learn a lot from my children. Whatever. This is not what we're getting at, though. I completely understand why he'd want to work with kids. It's hella fun. Okay? It's hella fun. Is this Dan? I still think this is Dan Schneider. Sorry, Dan, but like, who's defending you this much? I don't even believe Matt Underwood can do this, but I guess he is. Sadly, though, so many times I've heard someone say, why would he want to work closely with kids his whole life? That's creepy. But if he didn't have a P, whoa. Okay, I don't know why you're going right into that. You can just say, but if he wasn't a man, it's like, whoa, I just wasn't expecting that. It just kind of threw me off guard. All right. There was another way to say that. You didn't have to go into that. How old is the girl you're talking to, by the way? That would be totally acceptable and the creepiness would not be there. It's stuff like that forced me to take a step back when people make allegations because I have to consider if they're just making a stupid judgment call like above or riding a rumor wagon or simply reaching for attention. Oh yeah, we're really reaching for attention when it takes me 1 second on TikTok to find the Quinn episode. Really reaching. I really hope you don't remove your Insta page over this. She already did. I see you've removed everything, but you cannot feel like you have to punish yourself for wanting to help people. Some people may give you shit about it, but those people need to grow the fuck up. You need to grow the fuck up, Matt. You're literally sitting here. I mean, I don't even like using that language, but like you honestly, the email before you were discrediting the survivors. And then now here you're basically saying that you have no idea what's creepy about Dan Schneider when you were there physically filming with the rest of us, and we can look back individually and see what was beyond creepy about Dan Schneider and absolutely inappropriate. It's time for you to maybe grow up and get logical, because this email is not logical, because it takes a couple of seconds to really break it all down and find what was creepy, what was inappropriate. Go look into Dan Schneider's tweets, look into the slap, look into Dan Warp, look into the whole entire thing, Brian Peck, all of it. Doesn't take a reach. It's actually just like, since you have this much time on your feet for this, I'm sure you have enough time on your feet to search and look up physical proof of why it's inappropriate. Kid, just the fact that clips from Dan's show have been found on CP sites is all you need to know. Agreed. That is all you need to know. Matt? I'm guessing Matt doesn't necessarily have children. Matt, maybe since you think kids are hella fun, which they are, I honestly love my children, but since you think children are hella fun, now imagine that Quinn or Ariana Grande or Miranda Cosgrove in the Dan Warp video, all of these child stars, Nick stars from Dan Schneider shows, were your child. Like, and look at that. Do you think, is that the kind of content you want to create with children? Is that what you're doing when you're working with children? I doubt it, Matt. I hope you're not doing that. That would be bad. That would legit be bad. So I hope you're not doing that. But at the same time, like, how do you not understand that it is wrong to exploit children like this? Where are you, man? I saw you on TikTok playing with goats. Maybe play with the goats, but maybe while you're playing with the goats, you can hop on your iPhone and do some research, like an investigative journalist that you seem to really appreciate so much. So what else do we got here? Some people may give you shit about it, but those people need to grow the fuck up. Wow, I know the cast adores you. Me? I'm sorry, I was like, are you speaking for me now? Wait, what cast? Who adores you? What's going on here? The cast adores you. That seems kind of like fandom creepy, like when someone has like the power position and they want to like, you know, make the person feel like, oh, the cast loves you. Like, I know the cast, and so I'm giving you a message from the cast. It's kind of weird and creepy. I'm sorry, now I'm thinking he's creepy, but it's just kind of weird. What? The cast loves you? I mean, I think she sounds like a very cool individual, honestly, that she was investigating Dan Schneider. I do like that she was doing that. It's a bummer that, you know, he discouraged her. What is everyone saying here? What did Dan do to Matt? What is the influence that Dan has on Matt? That's really my question. Like, what is the influence here? Why are you so protective of that guy? The creator. Seeing Dan Schneider's show now and the amount of inappropriate content that I never realized was inappropriate when I watched as a little kid is wild. Yeah. See, you know Nat. Matt, be more like Nat here. This individual can look at everything and have proper discernment when it comes to what they're looking at and how they're feeling about what they're looking at. You seem to be very, you know, lost here, honestly, and not that logical. Not that logical for someone that studied logic. Okay, so I know the cast adores you, and the ones that are actually cool will understand your intentions. Wait, and the ones that are actually cool. Here we are again putting the hierarchy. What is up with this? Why does one Nick star have to be cooler than the other? What is this? This is a pattern I keep seeing from all of my peers. Stop it. This is what's wrong with the world. Is saying who's more popular? Like, how old are we? Who's more popular? Who actually matters? This person's cool. This person's not cool. Like, God, really, man? Really? And you're telling people to grow the fuck up? That's all. Read your own emails. Read your own emails. You're saying who's cool and who's not, like we're in fucking middle school or something. Middle school students are probably cooler than this right now, to be quite honest. It's such a bummer. So, okay, if they don't, then they're more concerned about themselves than anything else, and they're not worth your care. Matt, you're more concerned about yourself here. You're trying to get into the Zoe 102 reboot. Let's be honest. If any of them gets upset and you stop spreading information, they themselves won't spread. I think that should tell you something about them. Is he talking about Jamie? No matter what you decide to do, I know that I'll be around to talk, and I'll always be a friend. Okay, so, you know, the last email that he made before this, he said that if anyone got around to reading the end of it, that they would be his hero. So my question to Matt is, am I your hero now? Am I cool enough for you that I read all of your emails and your discrediting of Nick's survivors? Am I cool enough now? Am I relevant enough now? Because, wow, man, you took a lot of time to write those emails. And I really wonder what your intention was there. Because now fast forward to the Business Insider article where multiple people spoke about Dan Schneider in not a good way. What I found why I find these emails problematic the most is because Matt Underwood has never come forward and said, I support the survivors and the individuals that have come forward against Dan Schneider. And you can see here in the email that he was like, if I saw literal proof, or if journalists did their journalist jobs and investigation, et cetera, that then he would be more open to it. Well, we're in what? Year 2023, almost 2024. And Matt Underwood has not said a thing about the Business Insider article expose that came forward. He never said anything, I don't think, when it came to, I'm not sure, maybe someone can send it to me, when it comes to Jeanette McCurdy's book that came out. He never said anything about my personal protest where I shared my story, my trauma, working on a Nick set with Dan Schneider. And the list honestly goes on. And it's just such a bummer that he tried to act like he was this very logical person here and very neutral-ish, even though he was more obviously leaning on Dan's side of things, which I'm very curious still, is this what Dan's side of things are, that he thinks kids are just hella fun? Doubt it. I really doubt it. Dan Schneider, what is this? Yeah, that's another thing. He didn't even like having female writers on his Nickelodeon shows. And Matt, don't you remember that all of the kids' writers, for example, were males? Males. Hi, Cheyenne. Welcome to the Chef's Kiss. Males, dude. And it really makes sense when you think about the fact that, I'm sorry, but the girls were truly exploited the most. The girls. Because when I think of me, Jeanette, Miranda on the feet thing with the Dan warp, whatever, the slap, and the fact that it's even called the slap is already problematic. Daisy, welcome to the Chef's Kiss. Thank you so much for being here. You know, dude, like, it makes me wonder, was Dan really influencing these individuals to create content like that, or were they also like Dan? And that just gives me I actually want to find, I want to see if I can find on the Reddit page that one scene of mine where it goes into me talking about my shirt that I wasn't able to show that day. Let's see if I can find it. No. Oh yeah, that person I'll definitely be talking about. No.
Surviving a...
Where is it? Bummer, I can never find these things on Reddit. But there's a scene literally where I pull up, maybe someone can put it into the chat, where I pull up the shirt that Dan wrote the line for, and it says, "This shirt makes me look chesty." I was fucking 12 years old, you guys. A child. I was a child. And Dan, I'm pretty positive, yeah, wrote that line. And it's just sad that, you know, Matt is still really trying to defend Dan here and not doing his own investigative research to just look or rewatch any of our episodes and see what was problematic about it, or even just read Jeanette McCurdy's book, or just, you know, anything, man. Just anything. Like, do better than this. I can't believe you had this much time to write that, and yet you've never stood up for any of the individuals that survived Nickelodeon. You had this much time to write these emails, but not enough time to be an ally. And you're still not an ally. Still haven't said a single thing. A single thing. And so, you know, that's what we got here today when it comes to enablers. And it's really interesting that these enablers tend to use the same language. Like, the language was rumors. And, you know, these are not... Stop using the word rumors when it comes to when survivors tell you their story. That's not a rumor. That's also coming from their actual being, and they're telling it to you. It's not a rumor. You've actually heard it from the person. And it would be nice. It would be really nice to go into a future where survivors' truth are not being told as if they are rumors, gossip, drama. And I want to remind everyone once again, it's not drama. Oh, wait, are we showing the... Oh, okay, they can. You know, it's not drama, it's trauma. It's not gossip. It's someone's truth. It's someone's story. It's someone's voice that matters. It's not a rumor when you heard it from the person themselves. And we need to change this language, and we need to dispel of that, honestly, and just be better human beings and not rank one another. Who's cooler? Who's cooler? We need to stop that, because that also creates a hierarchy that we need to, what do Christians say? We need to be allies horizontally, where we're looking into the same direction and being allies, not vertically, which is what capitalism and so many things want us to be. They want us to just trample on top of one another instead of, you know, being at one, being one with one another. Just acknowledging our differences, but not trying to compete with one another. And it creates toxic work environments. It creates toxic behavior. It creates just problematic behavior in general. And I really want to see it change. And that's why this episode was important to me, because I'm really sad that we're still here. And I hope that they see it and that they have a change of heart with how they're acting and how they're behaving, and that we can do better, that we can be better, and that we can create change. And we can have heart-to-hearts, and we can have conversations with one another, and we can be held accountable, and we can say we're sorry and mean it, and we could want to do better, and that we don't want to hurt people's feelings. That we don't. So that's where I'm at today. We got to speak about Matt. We got to speak about Lindsey. And oh, I do want to remind everyone that on Thursday, I will be doing a Survivor highlight. We're going to start doing that weekly. So if you want to share something about you as a survivor, it can be a little bit of your trauma. It can be something empowering, inspiring, whatever you want to share. Send it to eatpredators@gmail.com, and start the subject with Survivor of the Week, and then end the email with I give consent for Alexa to share this story on the YouTube show. And I just think it'll be really nice to, I don't know, boost every survivor out there, because you all are so inspiring and your voice matters. And I know the alone feeling of being a survivor and feeling like when you talk about your story that you're like a problem, or like you're lame, or you're like whining. It sucks. It's like, this is me trying to share with you my being, who I am. And I suck for that. And so I want to do the opposite of that. I want to have survivor stories here on the channel. I want to highlight you. I want to celebrate you, cherish you, because you truly, truly do matter. And there's nothing that you can say, you know, that will change that, honestly. Unless you were being problematic and toxic like Lindsey Shaw and Matthew Underwood, obviously. But I just want to remind everyone of that. I'm going to be doing it on Thursday, and so I'll be choosing who the Survivor of the Week is, and I'm really excited about that. Tomorrow, we're going to go into, what's his name, Mike Rife? Mike Rife. I don't know, the TikTok bro who's been looking at that problematic behavior when it comes to Mike Rife. He is really serious. Thumbs down. So we'll go into Mike Rife. We'll go into his past a little bit. We'll talk about that and a couple other things as well. Also, we're protesting BASSNECTAR in New York at the end of the month. And so, you know, I really, really want to organize this, but it is a little bit pricey to get there. And so we're doing a fundraiser through the Patreon. So if you even have $1 to share to the Patreon, that would be so wonderful, because we're trying to organize this protest in New York, and it's really important. BASSNECTAR has serious allegations against him. His trial is about to begin very soon for very, very horrendous. So he's playing at the end of December, and we want to protest that show. So if you can, please donate to the Patreon. Jordan, I sent you that email with the message and the link to the archive post. You might have a lot of this information already, but hope it's useful. Thank you so much, Jordan. I'm going to look at it. Thank you so much. So yeah, so if you can, here it is. BASSNECTAR, New York, December 30th. I can't wait to connect with a lot of survivors there in New York who really want to make this protest happen. So please, if you can, help make this happen. We can do this together. This is all about building this, and, you know, survivors can't do this alone. We need to be united in this, and we need allies as well. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. I appreciate you all so deeply. And yeah, God, I'm like really wondering if it was Dan Schneider, though. Oh, wait, let's end it with something funny. Wait, we got to play some Matt Underwood TikTok. I recently saw Matt Underwood's TikTok, and this is not about bullying Matt, because I don't want to do that, but I do find a little bit of his content to be a lot like his character Logan if he grew up. Like, it's just giving me this vibe of mansplaining Logan. And maybe that's what he's trying to do here. But I want to show this one video. Yeah, definitely check out his TikTok, because it's honestly pretty entertaining. Check out this video, guys.
I've got a trick that can make you smarter on the daily. It only takes saying 3 words followed by an action. You ready? Whenever somebody asks you something, and you're not absolutely sure of the answer, just say, I don't know.
Say you don't know then.
See, this is called admitting ignorance. It's kind of the secret sauce of science. Whenever you say, I don't know, and you look it up, you do 2 very important things. First, you prevent your brain from establishing a falsehood, which is kind of hard to get out of there later. Second, you provide your brain with a reinforcement of the truth. Think, a save file on a hard drive that you can look for later. Now, you might have to redo this a couple times just for the same bit of information, but I promise, the more you do it now, the less you're going to do it later. I've got a trick that can make you smarter on the daily. It only takes saying 3 words followed by an action. You ready? Whenever somebody asks...
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.